interest in Ferrysburg government. I'm looking forward to a good evening, and I hope you will enjoy it as well. I'd like to ask everyone on the committee to raise their hand. So we have a number of people who've helped put this event on this evening. To my left is Matt DeYoung from the Grand Haven Tribune. The Grand Haven Tribune has been around for more than 100 years, and Matt has been on the paper for more than 20 years, starting in sports and working his way up to managing editor. Matt has agreed to be the moderator for our program tonight. Just a few ground rules. The people sitting up at the table up here are the candidates. They're the ones who will be doing the talking. Respectfully, I ask the audience to listen and not to engage in back and forth conversation. We all want to hear the answers. I just ask for your ability to get along with us and not have interference with the candidates. And to the candidates, I'd like to ask you also to be civil to each other and talk about your positions, what you want to say, who you are, and don't try to talk about the other candidates, just talk about yourself. And I think that will work well. Matt will be in charge of the program. Chris will be the timekeeper. Matt, I'll turn it over to you to, yes?
Will the candidates give us a little bit of their background as to what they do in the real world and education, that type of thing?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to introduce themselves before we get to the questions.
Thank you.
All right, will the candidates come up?
And to answer your question, if you go on the grandhaventribune.com website,
I tried to do that and could not get it.
You come up here afterward and I'll show you. And
thank you.
We can show you. Those are all free to read for anybody. You don't need a subscription. And everyone here, I believe, has filled out a questionnaire for us that includes a lot of that information that you're looking for. So the way that this is going to work is we're going to allow each person to have a 2-minute introduction. We'll start with Rebecca and work our way down, and then we'll ask questions. And the second question would then go to Rich, would be the first one to respond on down, and then we'll circle back here. So everyone will have 2 minutes to respond to each question. When you get to that 2 minutes, there'll be a red little flag held up. You can finish your thought, but we just ask you respectfully to kind of wrap it up at that point. I know 2 minutes isn't a lot for some of these questions, and obviously we could talk a lot longer, but we're hoping to get through as much as possible. Thank you, Gary, for the introduction. At the Tribune, we would never tell somebody who to vote for. We don't endorse candidates. We don't endorse or tell people how to vote on the various bond proposals or issues that are going on. Our goal is to just give you as much information as possible so that you can make a decision based on your feelings, your beliefs, which is why we're excited to be here tonight and a part of this. So with that, we will go down the list. We'll give each person 2 minutes to introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into the questions. So I believe we have a microphone there. You have to hold it up pretty close. If you move it, it stops working. So make sure you put it right up to your face, and timekeeper's ready, I believe. All right.
Okay, good evening. My name is Rebecca Hatt. I served as mayor from 2017 to 2021, and prior to that, I served on council from 2009 until 2017, along with being mayor pro tem. It has just been an amazing adventure, and I'm so excited to come back again. We began doing so many new initiatives for the city. From Tree City USA, we did planting of 42 trees around City Hall that we received a grant for. And more importantly, we did a 1-week community build with the fire barn park. That's the first time that we've ever brought a group of individuals, engineers, and we brought in volunteers from the community. So it was just an amazing event. And with this election, we just want to make sure that we're moving Ferrysburg forward again. There's so many new things that we can able to do. As mayor also, we established a user-friendly website and also to have live streaming for city council meetings to provide transparency for the residents. which is definitely a critical concern for many that are not able to get out to attend a council meeting and still be able to understand and hear what's going on within the city. And then also, I'm very proud that in 2019, I hosted Governor Whitmer, and she traveled over the bridge with us and toured the city because the Smiths Bridge had been closed. But more importantly, we were able to get the bridge. I worked diligently with MDOT over the 3 years. We were able to get the bridge bundling initiative included, and the governor did sign into the fiscal year budget 2022, which included the bridge bundling for full replacement of Smiths Bridge. But it was the first time that the city was able to host a city governor. So that was one very amazing initiative and adventure that we brought to the city of Ferrysburg. So trying not to be the little brother of Grand Haven, but just to move Ferrysburg forward to be a very recognizable entity of itself.
Good evening, I'm Richard Carlson, and I've lived in Ferrysburg for 11 years now. I've served on city council for six years, and I have 2 more years left on my term if I am not successful running for mayor. One of the things that have been so proud of with all of our work that we've done on city council is we've been able to really keep a tight rein on the budget and being able to keep our property taxes the lowest in the Tri-Cities. I certainly am a big fan of being transparent, open, and having an accountable government, and trying to get rid of some of the nasty viciousness that happens in our city government that seems to be pervasive, not just in Ferrysburg, but in government overall. I decided to get involved in government because of the Ferrysburg Nature Reserve, which is in my neighborhood up behind Leppings, where a group of citizens, we were trying to protect the nature reserve from being sold out from under us. I also did essentially the same thing with a group of citizens to help save Smiths Bridge when we had to self-fund for our second bridge inspection, which led to the bridge being open. And so I am all about listening to the citizens, working collaboratively and trying to come up with some innovative solutions to problems. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Jerry Sayas. I have served on Ferrysburg City Council for 4 years now. I was born in Grand Haven and raised here in Ferrysburg. While on City Council, I've served on the KLH Preserve Board, Dune Preserve Board. I've served on the Beautification Committee. I've served on the Renewable Energy Task Force, and I've also served on the Ferrysburg Economic Task Force. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised here, like I mentioned. I graduated from Grand Haven High School in 1990. Go Bucks, right? All right. You know, after high school, I figured I had some growing up to do. So I decided for me a good option was to join the military and join the Army. While in the Army, I learned a lot of values. Other than combat training, I learned honor, perseverance, and accountability. And every day, I keep those values with me, and I carry them with me every day. And I carry them out with me when I serve this city. After my military experience, I decided I wanted a career that I could go anywhere in the country and find a job. Not just a job, but a challenge, a career that was challenging and beneficial to the community. So electrical is the way I went. While serving, during my journeyman's training, I attended MCC, Muskegon Community College, and Grand Rapids Community College. After I received my journeyman's license, I started my own business. It was a successful business. I ran it for 3 years. In my 3rd year, I was involved in a one-person car accident. I flipped my vehicle, and it rolled over top of me and crushed my lower extremity. So unfortunately, my electrical days were over. I had to close my business and shut everything down. But I didn't let it hold me down. I met a lot of people that every day go to work to help others and make life better for others in the medical field. And I took a great example from that. And I want to carry that on in my term in City Council, that I want to help people. And that's why I decided to go into government and come and serve our city.
Wrap this up. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Will Montgomery. I also have been on city council with Jerry for 4 years now. I like to think I bring a sense of calm and common sense to city council, especially when there are heated debates and disagreements. But I love serving the city. I've lived in Ferrysburg for about 7 years now. Prior to that, I served about 11, almost 12 years in the Marine Corps. Traveled all over the world doing that. And then before that, I was born and raised in Grand Haven. While in the Marine Corps, I finished my bachelor's degree. I have a bachelor's in sustainability. And then a couple years ago, I finished my MBA from locally from Davenport University. I work for a public utility in Michigan, DTE Energy. I'm a manager for them, so I travel quite a bit of the state. I think that brings a unique perspective to the city in different ways. I serve on several boards representing the city council, including the Recreation Commission, the Sustainable Energy Commission, as well as serving as the chairman of the Northwest Ottawa Recreation Authority. I also, outside of the city, serve as on the board of directors for the USS Silverside Museum in Muskegon as a way just to connect with other veterans and preserve their history. Yeah, I'm excited to be here tonight. I'm excited to answer the questions and answer any of your questions after. Thanks.
Thank you. I will say the questions that we ask here, we kind of put a plea out, and these are questions that were sent to us, so we're hoping that they kind of capture what people would like to know from these candidates. We have a list of 10 questions. We're hoping to wrap this up by about 8:30, so with only 4 people here, we may get through all of them. If not, we'll stop kind of, when we get close to that point. And I would say as well, when we're done with the questions, we do have to be out of here, Gary, by 9 p.m. The doors will have to close, so if anyone would like to stick around and talk, you're certainly welcome to do so, but just to make you aware, by 9 p.m. we do have to be out of here, so you can kind of plan the rest of your evening. So we'll start with questions. So Richard, we'll start with you.
Sure.
All right. So question number 1, and we'll go down the list, everyone will have a chance to answer this. Does Ferrysburg need to change its zoning to be more flexible and open to multifamily housing, such as small housing, granny flats, other means to increase housing and population? And how do you balance that preservation with growth?
Do we need more affordable housing? Yes, we do need more affordable housing in Ferrysburg. We need it all over the place. The pursuit of the American dream is a wonderful thing, and unfortunately, as time goes on, there's fewer and fewer people that are able to purchase their own homes. And certainly, small homes or tiny homes or whatever they're called in your household might be part of the mix. It's not a solution that fits zoning all over the place. I don't know if it fits zoning within Ferrysburg. I serve on ZBA now and planning. We've had discussions in planning, and this is probably going to be something that's going to be driven by process. In other words, the jury is still out, and we'll see what the public would like to see. And it can slowly work its way through zoning, slowly work its way through ZBA. When developers come with a proposal to us in terms of square footage or something like that, one of the things that the city certainly has been approving has been owner-occupied condominiums, like what was just approved up on 174th north of Leppings, where you can have somebody that can have boat storage or whatever down below, and then living quarters up above. Something else that's been discussed is, do we need to have, right now, according to our zoning laws, you have to have a garage. Does a home have to have a garage? That is something that the citizens should be able to have some opinion on, rather than just having government saying, yep, we're going to change it and away you go. So certainly am in full support of home ownership for the American public.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I think we need to relook at our zoning ordinances in Ferrysburg. First of all, the mother-in-law suites. With an aging population, it's getting more and more difficult to find elderly care, and a lot of us don't want to put our parents in nursing homes, and we like to take care of them ourselves, and that gives us that option. So that's crucial to happen. Tiny homes, I totally agree with them. You know, it's getting harder and harder to get into entry-level housing now with inflation and with interest raising. New families find themselves out of the housing market, and I think tiny homes would be a good entry-level start for them to start their American dream and move up and sell it and move up to a second home. I'm not proclaiming tiny homes on wheels or anything like that. I'd like to see, you know, a modest home, not really tiny homes, something, you know, modest but not super tiny with a foundation. And as far as multi-family housing goes, definitely, you know, there's definitely a shortage in rental properties, and with rent the way it is today, it's a need, and the more rental properties we have, the lower rents will become. And right now, rents are skyrocketing because rental properties are in high demand. So definitely we need zoning for multi-family housing. I'm not saying we need small homes all over the city. I'm saying that we need zoning in certain areas to allow certain type of housing. And I think that working with the zoning board and the committee, we can accomplish that. That's all.
Yeah, so a lot of great answers tonight that I tend to agree with. I think Ferrysburg already has a very diverse homing situation as far as some entry-level homes, some apartments, a trailer court, up to the huge mega houses on the beach or on Spring Lake. I think that access to housing for everyone is important, and having that low-income housing in some cases is important as well, and in all cases is important. It's all about where do we fit them and how do we work it out, whether it is tiny homes or it's multi-family homes. We've been pretty creative over the past year working with a developer, as Rich said, for the storage condominiums. We'll continue to work with developers, but I don't think it's as simple and black and white as just saying we're going to change the zoning and it's going to fix our housing problems. I think the city council needs to continue working with developers that have the money to invest in these properties, much like we did across from Leppings, to say this is what it's zoned now, this is what we would like it to be, and what we're proposing, and will you change it? And I think if we get more of that, we will have better access for everybody.
As a citizen planner, it's very important that the city take in all of their information from residents, from the developers, and that along the way. Anyways, and I encourage conversations for residents regarding the zoning and changing, or we're making adjustments to accommodate your workforce housings. That is really important with word choice. I attended a conference in Detroit with the brownfield redevelopment that I serve on with Ottawa County. And word choice, when you're saying instead of versus low income, you're using the workforce. It really makes a representation of the community that we want to support and encourage to be residents here. Also, I think that it's going to be really important that the city reviews the master plan, which I know that it is under review at this point, to consider to align with other Michigan communities that allow smaller homes with a smaller footprint. And also, at last, I'd really encourage the residents to go on to the Survey Monkey that the city has to provide information regarding the new planning plans that they have in place, and to really let your opinions be heard, your thoughts and your ideas for the future of the city when the Planning Commission is going to be redoing the master plan for the next 5 years.
All right, thank you. So Jerry, you'll be the first to answer the second question, which is, there's much contention in Spring Lake Township right now regarding development versus preservation of green space and agricultural land. How important is green space in Ferrysburg in relation to property value and the welfare of citizens?
Yes, it's extremely important. Ferrysburg takes great pride in its parks and their preservation. And overdevelopment, you lose exclusiveness. In Ferrysburg, we don't want overdevelopment. We don't need cookie cutter developments coming and overpopulating our city, putting pressure on our infrastructure, on our roads that are already in bad shape and we already need repair. Not only that, but it adds pressure to our school systems. You know, we need to work with the school systems before we start thinking of overdevelopment. I think that it does bring great value to our city to have the park systems and the free green space that we do have here. I think it attracts residents every year. I think they come here and see our parks and they think, what a great place and what great people to preserve it the way they are. And I think that we need to hold on to that value and keep our city very inclusive and stay away from the cookie cutter developments. That's it.
So being on the Recreation Commission, I'm pretty close to the green space in Ferrysburg and, you know, the future plans and everything else for our parks and recreation areas. And I'm passionate about it. I think it's critical that we maintain these green spaces. I've heard a very small amount of residents that have ever suggested doing anything to our parks other than leaving them as parks. And I think that speaks to a city as a whole that our residents care about our parks, they care about our open spaces, and it's up to us to continue to protect them for more generations to come, to keep them updated, to keep them accessible for everyone, and to continue to just keep Ferrysburg the beautiful pocket of West Michigan that it is.
The green space for the city of Ferrysburg is very critical because we are only a landmass size of 3 square miles. During our Arbor Day celebration, Tree City USA, we did receive the grant from the David Resource for planting the trees around City Hall. We did 42 trees. But in addition to that, David Resource was able to provide us with the tree urban canopy, and it came through that we are over 40% of the green tree canopy for the city of Ferrysburg. That is just amazing that we value our parks that much and our green spaces. And along with that, we have our non-motorized trails. And with all of this put together, the valuable green space in our parks, non-motorized trails, is a perfect way to capitalize on the qualities in drawing outdoor enthusiasts to this community as supporting residents, supporting business owners, but more importantly, supporting our visitors that come here. We have an amazing community, and we just need to make certain that we're respectful of all of that green space that we have.
Excuse me, the recent dust up in Spring Lake Township has always been interesting. It's always amazing to me. City governments like ours, you have a master plan that you operate under, so everybody basically knows the general framework as to how the city is going to be developing property down the road. And then you have Planning Commission and ZBA to do approvals and everything else. And it seems like the public is always surprised when something happens, and it's always ugly. And that's one of the things that I've always tried to do, is try to be proactive and be sure to share with people what's going on so that the citizens don't feel surprised. Now, I don't know enough about the Spring Lake Township situation to know if it was approved by the master plan, if this is what was planned or not. If that wasn't on the master plan, in other words, developing the blueberry fields, I can see why people are mad as heck and don't want to take it anymore. Because the governments that we support should certainly be transparent and accountable, and not trying to pull surprises like what's happening as it appears in Grand Haven Township.
All right. William, your first answer, looks like you already have the microphone ready to go. Question number 3. Extra word here. What kinds of business can we try to attract in the immediate future to help increase the diversity and attractiveness of the downtown concept in Ferrysburg? And what steps can be taken to make these things happen?
Yeah, so this is a tough one. I'm not by any means an urban planner. I would definitely refer to the experts on that. We did develop a economic development task force that has been working on issues like this. It will definitely take a lot of coordination, a lot of investment for us to have a downtown. Ferrysburg is unique in that we do have multiple businesses that have been successful for generations, but not necessarily the type of businesses that are attractive for a downtown. Some of the businesses that you would think might be attractive for a downtown have not been successful around Ferrysburg for one reason or another. And that's unfortunate, right? But that's sometimes how our economy works. So I guess the answer to your question is I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what businesses would be successful and what would draw and build a downtown outside of working with developers and working with urban planners and designers who this really is their expertise.
I'm serving as a vice chair for Ferrysburg Brownfield Redevelopment and also Ottawa County as vice chair. There's tax incentives and tax abatements that are available to assist current business owners in the city, but then also to enhance new businesses to come in. Maybe along Pine Street corridor, we've done walking tours. We've interviewed and talked with business owners along there, and bringing in mixed use may possibly be an opportunity to include into that corridor to make it more of a welcoming community. And along the way, it's to provide our residents and visitors the additional opportunities to experience things here within the city and not having to leave if we're able to bring in like mixed use businesses down along Pine Street corridor or some other place. But by creating the strategic scaffolding, we're going to be able to better further Ferrysburg at this point.
The city recently just finished up the EDC report that Jerry helped serve on. A number of things that have been discussed. The city's already taken action on, the city council has. We've discussed doing off-street parking on Pine Street. We approved sidewalk dining for Pine Street Diner. And we've discussed doing some type of social district as well, encompassing from Miss Lisa's all the way through Pine Street to see what we can do to kind of jumpstart that area for more development. Additionally, with the new addition, with the county taking over and developing Ottawa Sands, I think there's an excellent opportunity there to potentially developing something on the corridor across from the fire barn and on out North Shore Drive. There's some good opportunity there for some retail development as well. We'll see how it all gels out.
Yeah, I guess we got to understand, to attract new businesses, we need to be attractive. And while serving on the Economic Task Force, that's exactly what we tried to do. We reached out to local business owners and asked them, what are we lacking as a city? How can we help you grow and expand, and how can we bring in new businesses? And we got a lot of great feedback. Like Rich said, we're expanding parking on Pine Street. I think that'll be a great benefit to the businesses along there. That'll look more attractive to new businesses who want to move in along that corridor. We've improved, or we're working on improving our sign ordinances so that businesses can have better exposure and people know that they're actually there. Right now there's businesses in Keenan building that a lot of folks didn't realize were even there, and they needed help, and unfortunately for some of them we came a little too late, but hopefully in the future it'll work out a lot better for them. Another thing, I think we just need to take small steps forward like we've been doing and becoming a more attractive city for businesses. I would like to see the development of the waterfront next to Johnston Boilers. That's city property there. It's a dead-end street. It's all dirt and dirty looking and needs to be cleaned up. We could provide access to the water there, boat launch or kayak launch or other things, just to bring people into that area and to make it more attractive to the residents as well as businesses. So that's it.
All right, thank you. We'll be back here with Rebecca. Question number 4, and obviously the candidates here know what this is about, but for those of you who don't, due to some clerical errors, there won't be any names on the ballot. All these candidates are actually running as write-in candidates on the upcoming election. So with that in mind, following this year's election issues, what do you hope to see done, if anything, with the city charter and the city's election process?
The state law, along with the City of Ferrysburg charter, provides the candidates running for any elected office in the city the legal guidelines that you need to follow. When filing to run for an elected position, the legal paperwork is not completed correctly or processed correctly. There's specific policy and procedures that must be in place. And along with that, the city charter and the state election law provides the rules and the laws that candidates and elected officials must adhere to. The charter has been serving the city of Ferrysburg for 60 years. And out of this, out of the candidates, there were 6 of us that did things correctly, and we were all removed from the ballot. And with that, and then perhaps there should be some educational training that goes into effect that for anyone that chooses to run, to provide some experience, some knowledge, mentorship for them so that they would be able to better benefit from receiving information to make better decisions and to assist anyone that's inexperienced running for a candidate for a position, because these are important information that you need to fulfill, and it's state mandated on when and how things need to be completed in time, whether it's filing for running for office or doing your campaign finances. All of those are date sensitive and they must be followed according to what the state law says, but then also the city charter.
As current city council members, the 3 of us here, we've done a number of things since the dust up over the petitions. We had City Hall start doing checklists for how they're going to take petitions in, as well as establishing written procedures. There's been a number of things, and like Rebecca said, 60 years of city history with the charter. There's a number of things that, if you follow the rules by this book, there's a number of things that probably have been just kind of let slide a little bit, and because of the fact that once it was investigated, nothing was led to slid, so everybody got tossed off the ballot. The other thing that City Council that we've done is we created a special investigative committee, and that found, with the help of an attorney, that found that there was no wrongdoing or nothing illegal was happening, nothing nefarious, that anybody was trying to pull a fast one. It was just a matter of some little details that people forgot here and there. So I think that with the work that's being done now with the Charter Commission, I don't know if that's a formal term we're using for it, but we're looking at potentially changing some of the things within the charter, which changing the charter is a big deal, but it should make our processes a lot more valid for when people are filing in the future, that we don't have this kind of problem.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get in the weeds over this one. Everybody knows how I feel about it. I am on the committee to look at the charter and to maybe change the charter and make it easier or more accessible for candidates to run for office. Personally, I have a feeling that we've been doing this for 60 years and we've never had a problem before this election. So how much of the charter do we really need to go and start changing? Do we need to change the charter just because there were mistakes made by candidates? I don't know. I think we're overreaching there. There are some things that were meant to be a fail-safe that ended up failing us in our election, and that is the clerk has to initial each ballot as she receives them. And that is a fail-safe to ensure that the clerk has checked each ballot and ensured that she's looked over it and she's checked it and she initials it before she sent it to the county. That was meant to be a fail-safe. That, yes, the clerk checked it, she initialed it, it's sent out. But because we have a new clerk, that failed to happen. And so that was brought up, and that was a big reason why all of our names were taken off the ballot. So it is what it is, we move on. I do agree with Rebecca, we need candidate training. I think that's what's most crucial, has come out of this issue, that's the most crucial thing to look at. Candidates need to know procedure and protocol. They need to understand that this paperwork is submitted by the state and it has to be filled out correctly. There are no mistakes. There's no, well, I forgot this and I forgot. They don't play that way. You don't fill out your application, you are eliminated from the ballot, period. And, you know, we failed to go down that route. And so we are where we are. And I just think that candidate training and maybe looking at the initials for the clerk initialing the ballots, that may be a change we need to make in the charter. But everything else, I think we can keep the same.
Yeah, so I think there are actually several things that need to be addressed within our charter. One, just to make our charter similar in those aspects to all the other municipalities within Ottawa County, so that it's easier for people like our county clerk to assist our city clerk when she has questions or concerns about how things should be done. Initialing portion of the petitions is a prime example of this. We're the only municipality around that has that requirement. The other concern I have is, unlike many municipalities, the city of Ferrysburg has a cure period built into our charter, meaning that after a petition is certified, or after a petition, is reviewed, if a clerical error is found, the candidate has 5 days to rectify that. Unfortunately, what we've done in the past several months is set a dangerous precedent in that if a candidate wants to catch someone on a technicality and the clerk misses it, all they need to do is wait for that first 3-day period to expire, and then the candidate is no longer afforded that 5-day cure period. So that's disappointing. One of our council goals is to encourage residents to participate in city government.
Gary,
And
I'm going to exit at this point because Councilmember Montgomery is making false accusations that have aligned with statements out on social media, vilifying me. And at this point, I'm exiting this meeting because I'm not going to listen to somebody falsely accuse me of something.
Can't hear her. You still have.
Yeah, so as I was saying, one of the goals of the current city council is to encourage residents to participate in city government. I feel that in order to do that, we have to have some grace and continue to work with our candidates to get them involved. Thank you.
All right, take a moment to
Yeah, don't laugh.
gather ourselves here, and then Richard, we are up to you. Question number 5. How important is an ethics ordinance in relation to transparent, responsive, and honest government?
The ethics ordinance for the city of Ferrysburg is something that's been a new development, and it's been a welcome thing, because it's important that we have good ethical behavior by our elected officials. One of the things that we need to work on in the ethics ordinance does need some work, and a lot of things when they first come out of the gate need some polish and some time. We need the ethics ordinance to be consistent. Right now, there's not a penalty for lying in the ordinance, okay? But there is a penalty for lying on the complaint form. And there's a number of inconsistencies between our ethics ordinance and what, if you look at the ethics ordinance examples through the Michigan Municipal League, which when we developed our ethics ordinance, we did not refer to the Michigan Municipal League ethics ordinance. And that's something that I think that we should take a good look at and have city council do some work sessions on it as well. And certainly, I do believe strongly that we do need to have an ethics board. Right now, what happens is if someone files an ethics complaint against one of us, City Hall takes it, and then it's given off to the city attorney. So that immediately is going to trigger legal fees. The city has plenty of legal fees already. Rather than going immediately into an attorney, we could have it go into an ethics board made up of citizens to have it go through and see if common people look at it and say, hey, does this look like an ethics violation or doesn't it? And whether or not we need to pursue that. You bet.
Yeah, well, if we had a transparent, responsible, honest government, we wouldn't need an ethics ordinance. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world, so we are in need of an ethics ordinance. I think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done on our current ethics ordinance. We just created it, and it's a little bare. We definitely need to add a little more teeth and a little bit more maybe fines or some type of punishment for unethical behavior. And I see a lot of it happening in council and in City Hall. So I think we definitely need to look at that. And like Rich said, we need to develop an ethics committee to overlook all of the complaints. I think we had 11 or 12 complaints in the past 2 years, and all of them were frivolous. None of them were viable, but yet it cost the city almost $7,000 in attorney fees. So we definitely need an ethics committee to look over all the complaints coming in before we send them off to our city attorney. That's crucial, and that's about it.
Yeah, both fellow candidates have summed that up very nicely. I think ethics in our charter is crucial. It's sad, again, to Jerry's point, that we need it, but I know we're not the only community that's going down this journey right now of implementing these actions to hold our elected officials accountable, and that's important in the spirit of a transparent government. We've never had that before, where our citizens have a means of holding our candidates accountable for their actions outside of obviously being voted out or being voted in, as we're doing now. But I agree. I think a committee is a great idea. I was supportive early on of our city attorney managing these, and I had absolutely no idea how that would snowball into various frivolous complaints, as well as maybe some complaints that should have been handled better, that I felt the city attorney looked at from a defensive position instead of just the true transparency of holding all of us accountable. So I think a committee would probably do better at that, maybe they need some guidance from the city attorney. But I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm happy we were at least able to get an initial ethics ordinance in place, and I look forward to expanding that to give it some more teeth.
All right, thank you, Jerry. You are first on this one. Question number 6, if you're keeping track. A little background. So right now in Grand Haven, the Board of Light and Power, there is a charter change being proposed that's on the ballot that's aiming to dissolve the Board of Light and Power as it stands and make it a part of the Grand Haven City, a department of the Grand Haven City government. So we would like to know, do you have an opinion regarding that BLP ballot issue in Grand Haven?
Boy, you know, I don't really like to get involved in other municipalities' issues, but I guess this issue does concern us in Ferrysburg as well, because most of us are BLP consumers. So I guess it does, you know, trickle over to us as well. And I know that most residents in Ferrysburg are scared of allowing Grand Haven City Council take over the BLP and remove or dismiss the board. Actually, they're going to keep the board, but they're going to appoint any seats that come up after that. The members that are on there now will stay on there, but any seat that becomes open after that, the city council will appoint those members. And I know that's a huge concern to a lot of residents in Ferrysburg. We feel like we're left out without a say. We feel like we're an afterthought on anything that happens with BLP, and I feel the same way. I would really like us to re-examine our charter agreement with BLP as a city, and I would like to see us have a seat on the board. I think it's crucial that we have a say on what's going on in our municipality, and I think that we need to pressure the city of Grand Haven to allow that to happen. No matter what happens on the ballot initiative, I understand that Grand Haven has reasons for doing what they're doing, and you know, that might not pertain to us as so much. It may only pertain to their needs. And I would like just to see us work more with Grand Haven and eventually have a seat on the board so we can have a say on our municipality. That's it. That's the way. That one.
Yeah, so as far as my opinion on the BLP, I'll just say it takes a lot to run an energy company. The Board of Light and Power is a benchmarkable municipal energy company. They have extremely low rates across the board. I'm not a BLP customer, but I wish I was, because all my neighbors are, and it's about 20% cheaper than what I pay. So it's a challenge. It's not something that anyone can walk off the street and do, which is why the BLP elects their board members and lets you look at those people's credentials to say, are they capable of running the BLP? Adding that to an already strenuous workload of running a city, I think is a recipe for disaster. And because of the way utility finances work, I think it's probably more appropriate to keep those separate. I appreciate, Councilman Carlson drafting a proclamation for the city of Ferrysburg, which the current council was unanimous in supporting, saying that it is critical for the BLP to provide us a service, and we support the BLP as a city of Ferrysburg. We do not want city costs pushed onto our residents who are not Grand Haven residents. We have worked with our attorney. We've got a couple of answers for them from our attorney in regards to our franchise agreement that I look forward to discussing further at our next council meeting. Yeah, that's my time. So.
There are times when governments have to take action against each other. And certainly this BLP issue is something that I felt led that I drafted up the resolution which City Council passed unanimously, where we're not in favor of the BLP being absorbed and being controlled by the city of Grand Haven. So I was very, very pleased to see that happen. Additionally, as William explained, the other thing that I'm deeply concerned about is the city of Grand Haven is in severe financially underwater, very bad. And there's a tremendous amount of pollution on Harbor Island, on top of unfunded pensions and everything else that they've got going on in the city. Right now, the city of Ferrysburg, BLP customers, over the next 18 months, we're paying over $33,000 for capital improvements for the snowmelt system for the city of Grand Haven, for their downtown snowmelt system. And it's being assessed on your bills. It's being assessed on the city's bill here and on all of our commercial customers within the city. So at our last city council meeting, we had asked city staff to get a hold of our city attorney to see if they were in violation of our franchise agreement. Our franchise agreement covers electrical service. It doesn't cover us paying for capital improvements for city of Grand Haven snowmelt. The attorney came back and said, hey, this doesn't look like this is a valid charge. So at our next city council meeting here on Monday, I'm sure we're going to be talking about it, of what are we going to be doing. We don't need, as individual citizens, to be going back to the VLP and trying to get our money back. We essentially can have the city do that for us and have them have our legal city pursue that to make this right. My concern is that if we're going to allow the city of Grand Haven to ding us like this for snow melt rather than electrical service, what's going to happen when they say, hey, you've got pollution?
We're at the end of your 2 minutes. I don't know if you saw that.
Okay, no, I didn't. I'm sorry.
He's on a roll. You know?
Sorry.
I didn't censor the stopping, so.
I missed that instruction, sorry.
No, all right. I believe William is first here. Jerry, I know you said you don't like talking about questions about other municipalities, but our next question is about Ottawa County. We received many, many questions about this, so we chose one of them. What is your take on the current state of the Ottawa County government? Do you support the current board's actions, such as firing its county administrator and hiring John Gibbs at its opening meeting, dissolving the county's Department of Equity and Inclusion, and attempting to move Health Director Adeline Hambley?
All right, that's a lot for one question in 2 minutes. So, I guess to start, it is crucial that we are able to have working relationships with every municipal government that we interact with, whether we agree with their decisions or not. As far as the Ottawa County goes, I can't speak intelligently on their actions. I don't know enough of their background. I'll be honest, I just don't know the detail enough to tell you an answer. I will say that we have a representative, Commissioner Bergman, that does come to our meetings, that keeps us in the loop of things as they relate to Ferrysburg. And at the end of the day, Ottawa County is no exception. We need transparent government. We need to keep our residents informed and do everything in an honest and open and ethical manner.
Yeah.
Back to Richard.
Oh, back to Richard. Oh, okay, go ahead, Richard.
Just to keep it in.
Well, fortunately for us, the city of Ferrysburg is nonpartisan election, so we can count our lucky stars for that. Ottawa County government is partisan. Elections have consequences, and so in 2 years or a year, you can go in and at the ballot box, if you're not happy with what's going on in Ottawa County, that can be addressed there. Now, the present county commissioners may have overstepped themselves, figuring they had one heck of a mandate. I don't know. That's up to personal opinion. But we're nonpartisan. We all try to operate nonpartisan. I think I personally have done an excellent job trying to keep partisan politics out of any of my decisions, and that's one of our strengths, I believe. I do want to talk about snow melt again, red flag raising girl, and that is that the critical thing with snow melt is that it's $33,000 over 18 months that we're going to be getting charged. And it's the camel's nose under the tent. If they can charge us for that, what else can they charge us for the amount of pollution that's on Harbor Island? It's one thing for us as BLP customers to pay for pollution from energy-related operations. But it's another thing if the city of Grand Haven is gonna try to suck us in to take care of all of Harbor Island and do it through the BLP, through our electrical bills. The electrical BLP has already paid $750,000, and now they're looking for all the neighboring townships that are BLP customers to fork out the other $250,000. City of Grand Haven should take care of their own capital improvement bills.